Let's talk about the function interface. As the name implies, this interface represents a function or an operation that takes an argument and returns a value. So here we have two generic type parameters. T represents the type of the argument, and R represents the type of the result. So over here, you can see that we have 4 methods in this interface. 3 of them have an implementation. The only abstract method is the apply method that takes an argument of type T and returns a value of type R. Now, just like the previous interfaces, we have a few specializations of this interface. For example, we have by function that takes 2 arguments and returns a result. We also have primitive specializations, and these specializations fall into 3 categories. In the first category, arguments have a specific type, but the return value is parameterized. For example, int function represents a function that takes a primitive integer. Take a look. For example, here we have the apply method that takes a primitive integer and it returns a value of type R. So this is int function. We also have long function and double function. In the second category, the argument is parameterized. For example, toInt function represents a function that returns a primitive integer. So over here, you can see we have a method called apply as int. The argument is parameterized and the return value is a primitive integer. Just like this, we have toLong function and toDouble function. Now in the third category, both the argument and the return type are specialized. For example, int toLong function represents a function that takes a primitive integer and returns a primitive long. Take a look. So we have apply as long, which takes a primitive integer and returns a primitive long. Now let me show you how to use the function interface. So let's declare a function that takes a string and returns an integer. So we type function of string and integer. We call it map. Now we should set this to a lambda expression that takes a string and returns an integer. So let's say our parameter is str, then we add the lambda operator, and here we just want to return the length of this string. So we type str.length. There's no need to add a code block or use the return keyword, okay? So here we have the map function. Now to call it, we call map.apply, give it a string like sky, and this returns the length of this string. So we can print it, and we get 3. So this is how we can use the function interface in Java.